power structure in Western civilization and centered in America. And so that's what George Bush is talking about. A new world order is a new world fraternal order, because the word in the dictionary means a fraternal or knightly order, like the Masonic order, a lodge. And so what we're talking about, new world order, is a power structure centered in the new world. And we're seeing terminologies in movies and motion pictures, like we said, Steven Spielberg and George Lucas with The Empire Strikes Back. It has to do with New York being the empire state, the state of the new empire, connecting New York with the old York dynasty in England, and America strikes back at the old order, which is the First and Second World War. And if you understand the connections between the Vatican and the European banking families, and Europe being the old world order, as opposed to America being a new world order, and the empire strikes back. And of course, the head of all Freemasons will recognize that Yota is little Yuta, or Yota is the ideologue of the Knights Templars Freemasonic order, giving us what we call the York Rite, or New York. And so all of these things are mystical symbols and emblems, and from that we can open up a can of worms.
The bottom line of this whole thing is one world government.
Right.
Ein Volk, ein Reich, ein Führer. They want one world, one currency, one race, one religion. And if you ever read anything from Global 2000, you'll find out that they plan to reduce the population of this planet by 25% by the year 2000. And how are they going to do that? Designer diseases. It's my thesis, it's Dr. Robert Strecker's thesis, that they have created AIDS and disseminated AIDS through the hepatitis B vaccine shots to the homosexual community in the United States, to the Public Health Service, and to the blacks in Senegal, Uganda, Zaire, the Central African Republic, Haiti, and Brazil, for the purpose of reducing the population of the planet by this 25%, by the year 2000, through the smallpox vaccine shots over there.
Yeah, what I have a difficult time trying to get by here, and maybe a lot of people do too, is we're uniting a lot of things. I mean, the Empire State Building with the Empire, Yoda with the Knights Templar, and now we're talking about AIDS with the government. I'm just wondering, and Christopher Columbus, I'm wondering, isn't there any part of human history where things are just the result of incompetence, where it just happens?
There is a conspiracy of this oligarchy to bring about this global government upon the ashes of the United States of America. And all of you would be enslaved or slaughtered if you don't go along with their gig.
The new plan.
The plan, the new world order. Novus Ordo Seclorum. It's on the dollar bill. Adolf Hitler wrote it. George Bush is implementing it.
Right. You're appearing at Wembley's Arena in England here, and this is one of your posters here. A global deception, and of course it has AIDS is a man-made disease. That's probably a big draw. A lot of people are concerned about AIDS.
It is a man-made disease.
And it
was created at Fort Detrick. There's no question in my mind about that. The World Health Organization went out to give these smallpox vaccine shots to the innocent blacks, and AIDS is vector-borne. AIDS is a cancer. They don't want to come up with a cure until the population of Africa has been diminished substantially. I think that black people in Africa are an endangered species. In south central Los Angeles, not far from where we are right now, at one high school with kids giving blood to the blood bank, it was discovered that there was 90% that were HIV positive. These are teenage black kids. I'm saying that AIDS is not simply epidemic or pandemic, it's mega-pandemic, and AIDS is murder. It's a designer disease, and it is a program to mass murder people on the planet, to reduce the population.
Talking about South Central, the Illuminati began if I'm to understand you right, on May the 1st, 1776, and you were ascribing some sort of significance to the fact that the riot we had recently happened on April the 29th to May the 1st.
That's right. May 1st was the founding date of the Bavarian Illuminati in Germany in the year 1776. And this you can find in any encyclopedia in any library. Look up the word Illuminati. Illuminati comes from illumine or illuminate, meaning the worship of light, the enlightened ones, those who are the masters who manipulate the world finance and manipulate world government. Illuminati was founded May 1st, 1776, and that's why in Soviet Union and all communist countries you have a great celebration on May Day. May Day was a symbol for, May Day was the celebration of the founding of the World Revolution Conspiracy in Germany, and then later on goes into France and to the
I hope they don't have to burn the city before the people see the real light of what's going on.
And so that's why our riot that happened here in Los Angeles happened on May 1st. It was all pre-arranged, pre-set up by this government, had nothing to do with the people in the area. I've talked to many of the black people in the area.
You say this government, you mean you're talking about by those who control this government?
Yeah, I'm talking about those who control this government, not the government itself, but those who are behind the scenes, who control this government and decide what it will and will not do.
And to control the black projects, the intelligence agency.
Are you able to zero in on exactly who these people are who are the government? The
invisible government. Now, people talk about the invisible government.
Yeah.
I talk about it as an evilarchy.
Well, are you able to zero in on
as
who
a group,
these people are in the evilarchy?
Members of the Council on Foreign Relations. I'm not saying all members of the Council on Foreign Relations are illuminist. Members of the Trilateral Commission. Members of the Club of Rome. The Skull and Bones Fraternity.
Yes.
The Bohemian Society. There's a group of presidents up there with black robes, like Klansmen, sitting around this huge bonfire at the Bohemian Grove.
We have
worshiping this
color pictures
giant
of
owl.
this. Yeah, we have color pictures of the presidents of the United States, all living presidents today, and dressed in large black robes with pointed headdresses like the Ku Klux Klan, in front of a large open fire pit, a pit of fire. In the article appeared said that it was after 12 midnight. All the American presidents line up on this altar and worship the owl, and they said the reason why the owl is used in their worship is because it is wise, because it is able to see things in the dark. There's a message there. The owl is wise because it sees things in the dark, and that's why the presidents and the heads of the state and the heads of the government that we live under all meet at 1 o'clock or 12 o'clock at night to worship the owl. This is history.
Believe it. If you don't believe it, we will come back and do another show, and Jordan will pull out the
all the pictures.
Yes, I want to see
and you can
picture.
zero in on Gerald Ford, who has some sort of satanic shrine in his home, as I understand it, from inside sources. I had talked to one fellow at this was in Anaheim years ago, at Knott's Berry Farm, after a Billy James Hargis meeting, who had claimed to be a member of some witches' coven, and he mentioned 2 congressmen which were involved in satanic cults, and there were, I guess, warlocks. And I only remembered one, because he was the #1 congressman for the Republican Party, the House Minority Leader, Gerald Ford, then later the selected, non-elected president, who then selected the non-elected vice president, Nelson Rockefeller. So we had a president and vice president of the United States that were not elected by us, but selected by them. And if you take a look at the administrations of Ronald Reagan, who said that Jimmy Carter should be criticized, or he criticized Carter for having had 18 members of the Council on Foreign Relations and Trilateral Commission appointed to key positions in his administration. Ronald Reagan had in excess of 200. He is as phony as a $3 bill. Ronald Reagan is not a right-winger, folks. He is a phony. He is a phony.
He was known in Hollywood as Red Ronnie.
Red Ronnie, yeah. Red Ronnie.
You've indicated that this conspiracy has some goal that they want to accomplish by the year 2000.
Yeah.
I wonder if you could spell that out.
Now, I've done an article called Global 2000. There's a thing out there, and you've read it in Life magazine. You've seen the front cover of the NASA SETI program. I mean, you've seen the big the picture from outer space, and they talked about $100 million investment. $100 million to invest to find out whether there is extraterrestrial intelligence. Well, they got something going here. You remember War of the Worlds?
The radio broadcast?
Yes, by Orson Welles, 1939.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, we've got something else coming in. They're going to make the announcement that they have discovered extraterrestrial intelligence. And this will frighten the people of the world and say, oh my God, how can we deal with this as a nation? But we can only deal with it as the United Nations. Yes, we're going to have the United Nations, a one-world government. Yeah, it's necessary, they're going to say. It's absolutely necessary. Why?
Tell me.
To defend ourselves from those little green men, from the aliens that are out there. They will make that announcement. And the whole program is phony. It's fixed. It's set up. And you're going to be the patsy unless you understand what's going down and who's doing what to whom.
And if you think that's far-fetched, just remember that the Soviet Union was put before us in our media, in our television, in our radio, in our newspapers as being an evil empire, a frightening, powerful, evil, militaristic empire.
Who can't even feed its own people.
And now today we find it's like the Wizard of Oz. He comes out from behind the curtain, we find out they've been starving all their life. They can't even grow enough potatoes to make vodka. They have to import the potatoes. They haven't even got a railroad track across their country. They're starving. They have always been starving. They're broke, and the only military materials they had is the stuff that we sent to them that we are not using anymore, shells of rockets, shells of planes, and it's just an evil empire on paper.
Dwayne,
they're starving.
You asked about this Luciferian thing by the year 2000. I was concerned when they sent up the Galileo mission, because they sent up the Galileo mission to explore the planet Jupiter. That went up in 87 or so? Something like that. It's already gone. It's on its way, folks. It's going to Jupiter. It's going to reach the planet by 1995. It's going to circle the planet. Mm-hmm. And then by 1999, it's going to be drawn into the planet where it will simply explode. What does it have on it? It's got 49.25 pounds of plutonium. Enough for, well, let's say 10 hydrogen bombs. What is the atmosphere of Jupiter made up of? Hydrogen. Now, this, if it were to be ignited, would give us a second sun.
Right.
And I thought, my God, the year 2000, a second sun. I said, where have I read that before? Something struck me. I said, wait a minute, Arthur C. Clarke, 2010, Odyssey 2. I went back to the last chapter. Guess what the last chapter's called? Lucifer Rising. And he talks about the ignition of the planet Jupiter by the year 2010. And he said at the very end of the book, you can read it, go to the library, pick it up, look at it. It said that the NASA space program was interested, Dr. Robert Jethro, I think it was, or Jethro, was interested in this particular thesis for the Galileo mission. So we're talking about a space exploration program that not only is going to go, it went up. That was in 1982. This was sent up 5 years later. It's already on its way. If that thing ignites, it would give us a dual solar system.
So what we're talking about is
and they would
two suns.
rename the planet from Jupiter to Lucifer.
Right.
That's exactly what Arthur C. Clarke talks about in 2010. So we're talking about Lucifer 2000.
There'll be no more nighttime, so there'll be no more opportunity for crime at night. There will be more sun now, because you have two suns now in our solar system.
And the
so that you
increase of
can
the growing
increase
system, like the